The beauty of New Zealand has been faithfully recreated in Microsoft Flight Sim. If you thought it looked good before, it looks 10 times better now. In today's video, we're talking about the recently released World Update 12, New Zealand, and everything about Sim Update 12 Beta, which is also, well, as beta, been released for Microsoft Flight Sim. 2 updates, both with 12 in the name, so let's get right into it. Okay, first off, we're going to kick it off with Microsoft Flight Sim's World Update 12, which focuses entirely on the beautiful country of New Zealand. New Zealand is a place I've flown into and around on Microsoft Flight Sim many times before, simply because this country really does pack a punch. It is beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful in the world in my opinion. Anyway, as part of Asobo's and Microsoft's ongoing World Update series, New Zealand receives some TLC, and it improves both the North and South Island and everywhere in between. From triangulated irregular network cities, which are somewhat handcrafted cities, although I believe they utilise more forms of the computer doing it as opposed to an actual human going around and fixing it up. There's also many points of interest, and of course handcrafted airports. For the size of New Zealand, I think this is the most dense world update yet. We've seen, let me just count, 9 handcrafted airports, 7 new updated cities, and numerous points of interest. Auckland is looking beautiful. I was flying around there this morning. Some of it is better than others. I was flying around Milford Sound earlier and I did notice some of the terrain still looks a bit buggy. Of course, it's not going to be 100% perfect. World updates never are, and at the end of the day, it is a simulator, so you're always going to get little tidbits going wrong here and there. In terms of performance, I didn't fly around New Zealand too much before, but you know, when I think about handcrafted cities, I always imagine there to be some sort of significant FPS loss. I definitely haven't been getting that with Microsoft Flight Sim's new cities in New Zealand. I spoke about it at the start of this segment. I said about triangulated irregular network cities. You'll notice normally they call it handcrafted cities. I don't know whether this is a new sort of technique they're using to make these cities. I did briefly look up what it meant. It basically uses, funnily enough, as it's in the name, triangles to build up the contours of these cities, and I'd imagine it is somewhat better on performance because, of course, if you're using triangles, there's less sides to the polygons as opposed to squares, then I'd imagine that would help out performance. That's just a shot in the dark. I'm sure some computer scientist in the comments will be able to help me here why they've decided to go onto triangulated irregular network cities as opposed to their sort of standard handcrafted ones, or ones that utilise Google Earth or Bing Maps data. Of course, this is available for both PC and Xbox. New Zealand is such a wonderful place to fly because it is so diverse. You can be flying over a highly populated urban area one moment, come up to the coast and be flying over a tropical paradise, come 60-70 miles inland and be flying over some sort of alpine mountains. It is really cool and it's a really beautiful update. Quite frankly, New Zealand deserved it. I've got plenty of flying around New Zealand planned over the next few days, so with that let's move over to the next bit of news. As part of their ongoing Local Legends series, this time it's number 8, the de Havilland Canada 4 Caribou has been released for Microsoft Flight Sim. I tried to purchase this one this morning, but I don't know what was going on with Steam, it just wouldn't let me. This comes in at a price of £12 UK, 49 pence, which translates to roughly $15 US. I think this is the best one yet. It looks incredible. It's been made in partnership with Orbex, and this aircraft really is quite vintage. It has got an entirely analogue cockpit, and I have to say, it looks absolutely marvellous inside and out. This aircraft in real life first flew in the 1950s, was used by plenty of militaries around the world, and is powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney Twin Wasp engines, which deliver around 1,500 horsepower each. It looks stunning as I'm showing you with a trailer on the screen now. I just wish I was flying it around this morning, but sadly I don't know what was going on with Steam, it just wouldn't let me pick it up. Hopefully I'll be able to try it out in the next few days. Of course, as with all Local Legends, it's available on both PC and Xbox, and if you have picked it up, please do tell me what it's like down below. It looks like they've smashed it with this one, a fantastic vintage short takeoff and landing aircraft that, to be fair, is a bit on the bigger side, certainly a unique aircraft. Now we move over to Sim Update 12 Beta. Of course, this one hasn't been in beta for that long. It's only been a couple of days or so. First off, with the usual disclaimer, entering into beta does put your system at risk. Not your computer, but Microsoft Flight Sim. It does mean that if something goes wrong, you might even need to do a full reinstall. I've been trying around with it a bit this morning, but I've got to go off to work in a moment, so I haven't got too much time. And while nothing has happened yet, nothing is ever 100% with Microsoft Flight Sim. You can enter this beta both on PC and Xbox, and Sim Update 12 is a more performance focused update, although this is much harder to clarify towards you guys as everyone's systems is different. I could talk about my performance, it seems to be pretty good still, definitely improved in some ways. I don't use Sim Update 12, where I believe there has been some significant degradation. I use Sim Update 11, and it certainly seems to be running smoothly compared to before. But again, it is completely subjective. That's based on my system. The add-ons are running, even the air density in the area, that can affect it. So it's very difficult to put a definitive improved or degraded label on it. But I'd say, in my opinion, it has improved. I'm sure some of you will have different experiences down below. Performance aside, it improved numerous aircraft, from the Capri G2 to the Cessna Citation CJ4, which has seen quite a few improvements. To be fair, all of the aircraft in the recent aircraft avionics updates, which is the Longitude, the CJ4 and the TBM 930, have seen some significant upgrades and updates and bug fixes, obviously mitigating some of the issues that arose in the previous AAU update. In terms of sim-wide fixes, there's been some bug fixes regarding weather, such as the removal of cloud popping issues when updating live weather data, sorting out some thermals and improving thermal slanting and aligning them to the clouds. In terms of navigation and traffic, there's been plenty of live traffic fixes, such as now live traffic planes will not incorrectly follow departure procedures, and they will actually climb to a proper height when going around, not just stay close to the ground at 500 feet, which they were doing before. Obviously, Asobo and the Microsoft team are trying to mitigate some of the AI traffic issues, seen as we've seen an influx of AI traffic add-ons over the last few months. And they're coming to realise that it is a pretty big part of simulation for a lot of people. Of course, the major release with Sim Update 12 is WASM support on Xbox. This is still planned for a Sim Update 12 release, but is not available to try out on the beta at the moment. So it means they haven't moved it around, they're just not showing it off yet. Obviously it has been rather technical, so they want to make sure they're getting it 100% correct. Have you tried out Sim Update 12 Beta? Let me know your thoughts on it down below. It's always very difficult for me as a content creator with a single system to talk about how the update has improved or made my simulator worse, so I rely on your feedback down below. On that note guys, there is the end of your Pilot Stud video today. It has been a pleasure having you. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you did enjoy, and if you want to join me in Houston in June, I'll be going to FS Expo. I might even be doing a seminar there talking about being a Microsoft Flight Sim content creator, which would be good. Of course, it's the world's largest FS Expo, and you can use the code PILOTSTUD to get 10% off any in-person visit. I'll see you there guys, have a good one, bye bye.